Sir, good evening. Yeah, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah. Good evening. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah. So, Shah sir, Murli sir, and Tina.
Shweta ma'am, ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ma'am, Shweta ma'am,
Yes.
please, we can start.
Okay. On behalf of Indore Sahodaya Schools Complex, a very warm good evening to all the dignitaries from ACCA, respected Chairman Sir, Mr. Uttam Kumar Jha, my fellow principals of Indore Sahodaya, parents, and dear students. ACCA is the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. It is a global body for professional accountants offering business relevant first choice qualifications to people of application, ability, and ambition around the world who seek a rewarding career in accountancy, finance, and management. ACCA is the world's most forward-thinking professional accountancy body, founded in the year 1904 in UK, London. Through ACCA's global network, students can study for the ACCA qualification all over the world. And Unnayan is the learning partner for the prestigious Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, UK. It provides an opportunity to the commerce students of the country to earn an international qualification and enables them to get into prestigious universities and colleges of the country like Oxford University. This webinar of today is about ACCA, for which we have Mr. Jeevan Sridharan, an Associate Director with EY with over 18 years of experience. He is a qualified company secretary, MBA, and an ACCA. Mrs. Naina Viji, the head of the West and Central India for ACCA India. Mr. Ren Verma, a passionate professional with a sound business sense with excellent leadership qualities. And the moderator of today's webinar is Mr. N. Muralidharan, a double postgraduate in intellectual property law system management. He is a recipient of a double gold medal in his PG in system management. He has authored 6 books and published many papers. We all are looking for a great webinar today. So without taking much of your time, I invite Mr. Muralidharan to proceed further with today's webinar. Over to you, Mr. Muralidharan.
Thank you so much, Shweta ma'am, for that wonderful welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everybody. I will be moderating the show for today. At the outset, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Indore Sahodaya Schools Complex for hosting today's webinar. A special thanks to Mr. UK Jha for agreeing to host the show at such a short notice. As a matter of fact, we had a discussion last Thursday only, and the moment he heard about the concept, he immediately agreed and gave consent for this webinar. Thank you, sir. The Indore audience has been great. We have had overwhelming response to this event, and I'm thankful to each of you taking your time to attend this event. I'll begin with the idea of hosting this event, the purpose of this event. As you are aware, there is so much gloom all around. We want to build some positive vibes in this situation. We want to talk about making best of the situation. We want to discuss about new opportunities that can be availed at this time. There's so much innovation happening around. I was just coming to a news. In Thailand, a mall is experimenting with elevators that will have foot pedals. So instead of selecting buttons, you can indicate your destination using your foot on the pedal. The other day, I saw a news clip where a Pani Puri seller was experimenting with a machine which will serve Pani Puris untouched by hand. And we have companies delivering essentials and books using drones. So business professors see long-term growth possibilities in the post-pandemic landscape. As a matter of fact, that businesses which will be imaginative, bold, and forward-looking is what will thrive in the post-pandemic world. Today, we will be interacting with industry leaders on career and study opportunities that you can avail in this pandemic time. We are going to have eminent panelists joining us today on our show. And remember, they are as excited to take your questions. So please type your questions in the question and answer chat box. We'll try to pick as many questions as possible to present before the panelists. Please do type in your name along with the questions. Before we begin with our first panelist, we would like our audience to know that you'll be awarded a certificate of participation. To get the certificate, you need to fill in the feedback form, link to which will be displayed in the program. Stay tuned and look forward to an exciting evening. We have our first panelist, Mr. Jeevan Shashidharan, joining us. Welcome to the show, Mr. Jeevan.
Thank you. Thank you, Murli.
Mr. Jeevan, we understand you live in Cochin.
Yes.
So how is the situation there?
The situation is quite unprecedented. We've been having a surge in number of corona patients, and I hear that we are anticipating another statewide lockdown, which might get announced very soon because of the drastic surge that we are going through. And yeah, we are trying to be safe and stay indoors as much as possible.
Oh, that's not good to hear. Mr. Jeevan, I understand you have been working with Ernst & Young for the past 7 years.
Yes.
So can you just explain to our young audience what exactly does EY do?
Sure. So Ernst & Young, as we would all know, is a Big Four global firm, Big Four consulting firm. And EY is structured into 4 different service lines. The first service line is assurance. Assurance service line takes care of external audits, and it also has something called the financial accounting advisory services. Then under assurance, we also have the fraud investigation and dispute services that we cater to, and we also have the climate change and sustainability service, which is also part of assurance. So assurance overall, the biggest chunk of the work that we do under assurance is external audits, followed by the other services that I just explained. Then the next service line is called tax, which provides support to clients in all the taxation related matters. We've also brought in our people advisory vertical under tax to provide services relating to the people, which are any organization's assets, including mobility, immigration, and a lot of other aspects related to our people agenda of companies. Then the third service line, of course, is consulting. We've recently renamed our advisory service line to consulting, where we provide services to clients under two domains. One is the business consulting, which is all related to the business operations, and the second one, which is now being more predominant, is technology consulting. So anything and everything in the world has to do with technology. So we decided to create a separate practice for our technology consulting services. And the fourth service line is called strategy and transactions, which would advise clients and organizations on looking at their strategy, redefining their strategy, and of course, the transaction arm means that it's all advisory related to mergers and acquisitions and various transactions that happen between the corporates. So these are predominantly the four service lines under which EY operates, and our tagline says building a better working world for our clients, our people, and the communities at large. And as an organization, in one line, if I have to say, EY helps our clients to solve their most complex issues, whether it be in the area of assurance, whether it be in the area of tax, whether it be in the area of strategy and transactions, or whether it relates to their business problems or their technology related issues. That's in a nutshell what EY is all about.
Oh, wonderful. That's quite a lot of areas that EY covers.
Yeah.
So does it mean that your organization monitors every industry?
Yeah, so although we have our four service lines, we also have our enablement teams, and we have a very large knowledge practice, which is quite internal to EY, which keeps a tab on all the trends happening in the industries and the various events and transactions that happen in the industry, and they publish our own knowledge reports on how these industries are doing, what are the trends affecting those industries, what are the clients in those industries looking at, and various other thought leaderships that EY publishes. So if you go to ey.com, all the thought leaderships that is publicly available can be accessed through that portal.
Okay. So, Mr. Jeevan, now coming back to the topic that we are going to be discussing today. So now that your organization seems to have extensive information about every single industry, would you say that this pandemic is creating newer opportunities?
Of course, that's what we are working with clients. So most of the clients or most of the organization these days are going through a very difficult scenario where their first priority is on looking at what to do now, right? The now is the biggest question in front of them, where they will need to look at aspects of continuing their business. So having a robust business continuity plan in place, and also to look at how they can sustain their business, how they can maintain the well-being of the people. So for an organization like EY itself, one of the predominant thing that they're worried about is, one, their business continuity plan, and the second is about the well-being of the employees. And we have various programs that we've launched to help employees sail through those situations. So there was an interesting discussion where we were talking about, what are you feeling today? Are you feeling frustrated? Are you feeling devastated? And what are you going through right now, right? And the clear message is, now is the situation that we need to go through, stay calm, and look for newer opportunities. There's a lot of trust that's being placed across organizations on learning and upskilling their employees to the new future that's going to come. And so we may end up living in parallel with the corona for some foreseeable future, and we will need to all prepare for the new normal. So the new normal could be you could be working from anywhere in the world. from the comfort of your homes, and you will be working with a lot of new technologies. So one of the most important technology is the teams that we are working on right now, where we are sitting in different parts of the country and talking to people. So new normal about how will we thrive in this environment, equipping people to do that, and upskilling to face the new normal. And the next phase of corona, once industry starts picking up from corona, is about building an enterprise resilience framework. How will you quickly get back to your normal? Right, so there are certain industries like travel, tourism and all, which will have a long way to go in getting back to normal, but there are the other industries like consumer goods, or the hospitality and the healthcare, or the pharma, or the entire digital ecosystem of companies, right, so which will be able to quickly get back to the new normal. But then that getting back to the new normal involves a lot of preparation in terms of relooking at your strategy. So that's something that we are advising our organizations on. What should be your new strategy post COVID era, and how your supply chains are going to change. So supply chain is one big thing for companies which has got disrupted during these times. How are you going to reimagine your supply chain networks? How are you going to understand the new preferences of your customers? The customers are worried, especially for your retail or food industry. The customers are totally scared, right? So will they come back to the supermarkets or the malls that they used to do? Will they still go and do those unnecessary purchases, right? So the buying patterns, the trends, the thought process itself is going to change. So how will you reimagine your new customers, right? So there is a lot of work that needs to be done on reimagining the strategy, redoing your strategy, and then building a resilience framework to quickly get back to normal. So there is a lot of opportunities coming up, and technology is one such transformation that is happening up across sectors, across organizations, where we are looking at ways on how companies can transform their business into using the digital footprint, right? So you cannot in the foreseeable future, people will not be going to movie theaters. So movies are going to get released over the OTT platforms, and everywhere in every industry there is technology that's going to play a key role. There's a lot of digitization that's going to happen, both at the customer end and both at the operations end, and that's where organizations are moving forward. And one of the buzzwords that we hear is technology and digital transformation.
Okay, that's a wonderful insight, Mr. Jival. But keeping in view that we have a majority of our audience here as commerce students,
yeah,
and the whatever you discuss, most of it seemed to be to do with business, the way it is going to be redesigned, redefined. So I would like to know, would you say that the future for the commerce students, does it look bright in the coming
future
times?
for commerce students is absolutely bright, because commerce is one stream which has a multitude of career opportunities. So when I talk about strategy, redefining strategies or looking at new ways of doing business, it is your commerce students and with respective MBAs who take a lead in doing that, right? And one of the key aspects of the transformation that is going to change the world is about the way finance is going to be reshaped, right? So when I say technology, this technology, you cannot directly go and become a technology expert, right? So you will need your domain expertise everywhere. So if it's finance transformation, we will need those finance professionals to tell the bots what to do. So when there is a finance is one area which is going to be majorly impacted by robotics, right? So there's a lot of thought process around where in finance can we deploy a robotic process automation. And we see our ACCAs or commerce graduates getting those certification programs and becoming those RPA specialists, and then helping companies to go through the phase of the robotics movement, right? And unless you have the domain knowledge, you are not going to be you will need somebody to tell the bots what to do, right? So that is the domain knowledge that we will need to have. So commerce students definitely have a lot of space in finance and strategy, be it marketing. So in marketing, it's going to be digital marketing, going forward, right? So I would say that the commerce students will need to get their foundation strong and need to have a pure play base qualification in terms of whatever their career aspirations are, and then sharpen their skills using the technology. So technology is something that is in the heart of all businesses these days. Unless you are a tech savvy, you will not be able to succeed in the organizations of the future. And here I would like to point out something that was announced by EY. EY has announced a free technology MBA to all of its professionals, and a company like EY has a majority of finance professionals who are obviously the commerce students coming into the finance profession, and we've launched a technology MBA just to ensure that our finance professionals sharpen their skills and become those tech savvy. And this technology MBA is based on completion of a lot of upskilling programs, which includes your digital, your RPA, or data analysis, and any of those courses. So you have a wide range of courses that you can pick from to get those certifications. So I would say build your foundation strong and then get those relevant certifications based on your interest, and then move forward in your careers.
Great. Mr. Jeevan, I mean, our audience, there are, I mean, a number of them asking the question about your qualification. So I think we will discuss about your qualification also. Yeah. I understand you have done company secretary, and then an MBA, and then you went on to complete ACCA.
Correct.
So based on the answers that you are giving to the previous question, I would like to ask first directly to you that has these qualifications added any special skill set to your profile?
Definitely. I did my company secretary course as part of my BCom. So I was lucky enough to get placed with HDFC as soon as I finished my BCom, and I pursued my company secretary course. The company secretary course gave me a lot of knowledge and skills in terms of the corporate law environment and the various compliance requirements from a corporate law standpoint, and the different other laws that are applicable in the country. And I think the biggest thing that the course gave me was that flair to understand the legal language and to interpret the laws fairly easy. And this is a big game changer for me, because in internal audit, one of the things that we do is also looking at compliance. So compliance is a very big risk that organizations face, and ability to understand regulations and interpret them and to help organizations to comply with those is one of the key priorities of internal audit. So that way, a company secretary has added a lot of value. MBA has helped me sharpen my skills on strategy, and also helped me pick up some leadership qualities as I move up the career. From HDFC, I moved on to KPMG, where this was an added qualification for me to move up the career. And when in EY, so I completed ACCA quite recently, where what I understood was the entire Middle East was my client. My clients were in the Middle East, so and Middle East was moving into IFRS. All the Middle Eastern countries were moving into IFRS, and IFRS is something that I wanted to really learn and understand. Because as an internal auditor, I will need to be able to add value to my clients in terms of compliance to the IFRS. That's how I picked it up. But I just loved the course because in a recent session, I was telling my audience that every page of the ACCA curriculum is so relevant to the things that we do in our business. Right? Anything. So there is not even one chapter that I could call off and say that, oh, this is not relevant. So most of us have this problem when you get into your career. Sometimes you end up feeling that, oh, I'm doing something which is not relevant to what I learned. But ACCA is one such program which is so relevant to everything that you do in the work, and a lot of things that you study there are straight away relevant to the day-to-day activities that we perform, right? So that's the beauty of the course, apart from the global recognition, the flexibility in writing the exam, and of course all that which the course gives you. But I think the most beautiful thing is its relevance in the corporate world, and the content also keeps changing. I in the 2 years that I took the course, I saw the syllabus changing once, and the way the syllabus was changed was very futuristic, right? And the SBL paper that was introduced, the strategic business leader paper, is an awesome paper, and it takes you to the entire gamut of things that we do in office. And some of the questions that are tested in the exams are also very relevant to the practical scenarios that we face, right? So if you learn your course thoroughly, so in a recent interview, I was telling my candidates, especially the ACCA candidates, I was telling them, whatever you learn in ACCA, if you learn it properly, if you understand and learn it, you can easily come and apply those in our in organizations like ours.
Right. Great. So I mean, I have one question because the students are asking this question that in India, CA has a lot of prominence. I mean, people give a lot of importance, and most of the commerce students they prefer CA. So you must have also had this option in front of you, but yet you chose ACCA. So what is it that drove you to take this decision?
So I wanted, so as I said, I was not serving the Indian market. I was serving the global market, and I wanted a qualification that would make me stand out in the global market. And ACCA
Right.
did that magic with me. Even when I was partway through the program, I was working with a client where I could, point out certain deficiencies in the way they were accounting, in their books of accounts as compared to IFRS. And they, literally called me the IFRS guru. And the kind of visibility that I got with that client at that point of time was amazing. So the amount of international, visibility that you get, the kind of recognition that you get from the course is amazing. The second part of the program is its flexibility. You can write. There is no part system. You can write it, 4 times a year. You can even opt to write a single paper, right? So which enables you to focus a lot more on what you're studying, and that focus is important because you're going to use all this in your work life. So that's the second thing that attracted me. And of course, I understand that there is a preference at places for Indian CA, but my personal opinion is that the content is very robust and not that the content is not is bad in CA, but then now with the Ind AS coming, right? So and I feel that Ind AS is more of a copy paste from IFRS. So so as long as you are knowledgeable with IFRS, you can handle Ind AS also. But there is some pockets of preference, but not with international firms. International firms always prefer global programs. So there is an equal weightage that is given to both ACCA and CA. And only problem that you may have is that the CAs come with that added 3.5 years of grilling and the articleship. Maybe they get a small preference in terms of a small level higher when they get into land up in the jobs. But then once you land up in the corporate environment, all that is not a criteria at all. You are not, there is not at all any degree of discrimination between an Indian CA or an ACCA. It's all very clearly performance driven. We have our KPIs to achieve. Whoever achieves the KPIs will move up, ranks, and there is no specific preference given to a CA, Indian CA or an ACCA on the corporate floor. On the corporate floor, it is definitely performance that matters. So there's nothing to be worried about whether Indian CA is big or ACCA is big. So as long as you're smart enough, as long as you're good enough, as long as you've done your course properly, it's your performance that matters at the end of the day. You're on mute, Murli.
Yeah. Sorry. Thank you. That is wonderfully said, Jivan. And on this note, I mean, we are very lucky to have joining us today from London, Ren Verma, who is heading ACCA partnership. So I will just bring Ren live. Before we connect with Ren, we have a small video which you would like to show. So welcome to the show, Ren. Thank you for joining us today. Ren, you able to hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you, Murli. Thank you.
How are you, Ren?
I'm very well. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm very delighted to be part of this webinar today in the presence of eminent academicians like Mr. Jha, Mrs. Shweta Garg, Ms. Isabel Swami, of course, yourself, Mr. Murli. Jeevan, who is also an ACCA member and industry leader, my colleagues, and more importantly, the students who are the future finance leaders of tomorrow's India and the world.
Right. Then you are from London. So what is the situation in London now?
Yeah, well, the situation is in London is improving. So the government has opened up shops, supermarkets, schools as well, restaurants in the UK. Of course, we still have to maintain social distancing guidelines.
Right. Great. Have the schools opened yet?
Yes, schools in UK has opened with a limited number of classes and students. Not all the classes have started. Currently, schools are closing for summer vacations here because it's summer in UK. And come September, they are planning to open as normal, again with social distancing guidelines.
Oh, great. Good to hear the schools are opening up. So then earlier panelist, Mr. Jeevan was explaining why he chose ACCA over CA. So can you please help our young audience understand what is ACCA? Is it an organization or is it a qualification?
That's an excellent question. I'm so happy and proud to be representing Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, or ACCA. So we are a 116-year-old global professional accountancy body that was established in the UK in year 1904. And so accountancy is a profession that works to the very highest standards and aims at improving the societies where it is present. So to ensure that these high standards are maintained, we do award qualifications as well. So ACCA qualifications, it actually delivers cross-sector accounting and finance knowledge, skills and professional and ethical values needed in all organizations and every industry.
Oh, wonderful. So when you say that this is a global qualification, what is the recognition of ACCA across the world?
So as I said earlier, like ACCA is present in over 179 countries across the world. I mean, so it's recognized by employers, whether employers around the globe, whether it is in Europe, America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Middle East, of course. We have actually over 17 joint exam partnerships with national accountancy bodies around the world who allows the trainees to qualify using the ACCA qualification structure. And we also have more than 98 global partnerships with accountancy bodies, which actually ensures or enables the ACCA qualified professionals to go and work and practice in some of these countries.
Okay. So what exactly is the presence in India?
So in India, I would say that we had been present in India for over 5 years, and currently we have 4 offices in Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and Bangalore. And in India, we work with over 97 plus highly reputable universities and colleges, for example, like Christ University, Symbiosis, Narsi Monji, Xavier's, etc.
Okay. Oh, that's wonderful. I think here we'll bring our third panelist, Naina, from who is heading the West and Central India for ACCA. Naina, welcome to the show. Naina, can you hear us? I think you're on mute.
Yes, thank you, Murli.
Right, great. So Naina, could you please explain to our audience here, how is ACCA relevant to them?
Yes. Uh, ACCA is relevant in many ways, but I think top of my mind, I can clearly talk about how we came up with ACCA as a qualification for students in 11th and 12th. And that's primarily because we tried matching our syllabus with the CBSE syllabus. And we saw a lot of relevance in our first three papers. That's which is foundation in accountancy. So a student in 11th and 12th will able to start with their qualification, wherein some of those subjects are already been taught in CBSE, already been covered by them in their school. So there is not extra additional burden that they have. At the same time, they're able to start off with a professional qualification. The second reason that I would like to talk is, when you look at professional qualification, when we started or we completed our qualifications, we were able to do it only at the age of 25, 26. But here you're getting an opportunity to actually start with your professional qualification right at an early stage, which means you're able to also end it at an early stage. You get more time for your retirement, more time to probably take your career to a much more height than what you need. That's one of the reason that we feel that it is very, very relevant to the CBSE students. Also, one more thing that I like to add is that there is no other professional qualification that I can think of where you are able to start your qualification after 10th. You take you want to be in your medical field, or you want to be an engineer, or even in chartered accountancy. You will be able to start at least only after your 12th standard or even after graduation. But ACCA is the only qualification where you are able to start right at the start after your 10th standard and able to enter into a professional qualification along with your 11th and 12th standard.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I mean, sounds very interesting. So, Naina, what I understood from the answer that you gave is that this is an international qualification which a student can enroll right in class 11th or 12th. And they can get a qualification right in the school itself. They can complete this qualification. Is that what you said?
Yes. So what I am saying is that this is a qualification they can start right at the school. They will able to start and complete 3 papers and get diploma in accounting and business, which we call as foundation in accountancy. This is a stepping stone for our professional qualification. Our qualification comprises of 13 papers. You are able to start with the first 3 when you are in school. And I believe that when you go to your college after your school, you will be able to complete the rest of the papers and able to be an affiliate who is completing all the papers, and you're ready to be joining if in case you want to work, or if in case you want to do a post graduation. You've already completed your professional qualification, and all you need is 3 years of experience post that.
Great, wonderful. So which means that a student can get an international qualification while being in school.
Absolutely right, Murli. And this is one qualification which is, reputed, as rightly said by Ren, it is reputed all across the world. And one more thing is that, when you do a qualification in India, let's say an Indian qualification, when you go anywhere outside India, you will have to do their qualification if you need that value to be there in that particular country. But in ACC as a qualification, if you're doing this, this is a global passport to the student, wherein if you go to any part of the world, any part of the country, this qualification remains standard, and this is appreciated and valued in every country the same way as it's in India.
Great, wonderful. But Naina, we have a concern here. We already have a lot of pressure in class 11th and 12th with the board examination and the number of subjects that we have. So do you think it is a good decision to take an additional qualification, study for it while being in the school?
I think it's a very interesting question, Murli. Let me tell you one thing. While I know that when you join 11th and 12th, you also want to have some part for your fun element. You do want to live your life along with studies. And that's one of the reason, we actually try to match the syllabus of CBSE so that the students do not get much of burden in their study. Almost 80 to 90% of the syllabus is matched with, matched with the CBSE syllabus. So which means that you're actually preparing for one subject, and you're actually giving examination for 2 papers. One that is for your 11th and 12th, and another one is for ACCA. So by the time you finish your 12th, you completed your 12th standard, plus you have an additional qualification, which is your diploma, plus you're also having a stepping stone towards your professional qualification. So without giving much of time to it, at the same time giving a little more time to it, you are able to complete this course. I will also like to say that when you're looking at the curriculum, we believe in, and which Jeevan also vouched, that we believe a lot on the applicability part. So let me give you an example. If you want to ride a bike or ride a cycle, you obviously understand the theory that you need to sit and pedal, right? But till the time you don't start and doing it, you will never learn it. And once you learn it, you will never forget it. So it's a matter of matching your theories with the applicability. And I think then there is a lot of fun element of learning. So this will also help them to excel in their own syllabus, which is there of 11th and 12th, in a much more fun way. So thereby excelling in the 11th and 12th, and also getting a qualification as a bonus for you.
Great, wonderful. So, Naina, you mentioned about 3 subjects being common between ACCA and CBSE, and they have to appear for these 3 examinations. So, which are the subjects that we are talking about here?
Okay, so let me start talking about our papers, and then I'll relate it to the papers which is similar to what they have in their school. So accounting in business, which is basically primarily teaching you about the different hierarchies of organization, how is the team effectiveness, how your effectiveness comes into the picture. These are very, very similar to your, the business module that you have for the 11th and 12th, classes. Then you have something called as financial accountants, similar to what a financial accountants paper, which is there for 11th and 12th. This also talks to you, this gives you an initial introduction to financial reporting. Then you also will able to understand what is called as a trial balance. You'll able to get more understanding about what is finance and what are the aspects. Very similar to what a financial accountancy paper, which is there for the 11th and 12th standard. The third paper is on management accountancy. Management accountancy is basically to give an aspect of, how you read certain data, how do you analyze, how do you take strategy, how do you do forecasting. And all of our papers, as I said, are very much related on an applicability part. So when a student is studying for these papers, they will at least understand that after I complete this paper, what are the qualities or skill I'm able to develop by this. Our questions are in a way that we don't expect you to just write the theory. We expect you to understand the theory and apply it based on those questions which are available.
Great, wonderful. So, Naina, sounds very exciting, the concept of having an international qualification right after 11th and in the school itself. But there is one area which is a big concern, because see, the students, as a student, we have been in the school for last 14 years, and now we are looking forward to that freedom which we are going to get getting out of the school and going to college, all that freedom. We are looking forward to enjoy that. But still, there is one apprehension that still lingers in our mind, is getting admission into a good college. So when you're talking about doing this international qualification in the school, is there any benefit that I'll get while taking admission into a college or a university?
Okay, very, very interesting question again, Murli. So let me try answering this. Okay, so when I go to a college, and I'm sure all the students would want to get into the premier colleges. They want to have fun, as you rightly said, but at the same time, they do want to have that reputation along with them that they did the graduation with one of the best colleges, maybe in India or internationally. It is similar to probably giving a job interview. You have your resume. All your students who was passing out of 12th at the same batch have the same resume. How is it going to be different than the rest of them? The resume will talk only about your passing marks, which is there in the 12th. It may be 94.5 or it might be 94.6. How will a college probably take an admission with just 0.6 differentiation? So the differentiation, now the colleges have started taking a lot of personal interviews. So for example, when you take NMIMS or you take Symbiosis or you take Christ, for example, they take personal interview before taking admission. This is where ACCA comes into the picture. ACCA has affiliations with more than 100 colleges in India. These colleges, we have our integrated, the ACCA is integrated with their syllabus. which means they value what is ACCA. They have BCom or BBA associated as, a part of their curriculum is matched with our syllabus, and they teach ACCA along with their graduation. So when you go for an interview, you already have done 3 papers of our qualification, which gives you confidence for sure. But also, as a college, they will surely give you a preference because, they are the preferred students. They actually want to now build up and get them graduated from their college. So that's how you will stand out from the rest of the crowd when you go for, these interviews for graduation.
Nana, just to be sure that I heard it right, are you saying that doing this diploma from ACCA is going to help me in getting admission in colleges and universities? Is that what you said right now?
Yes, Murli, what I'm saying is that getting these qualification will surely give you a preference in these colleges. And then after that, when you are there in the interview, it's between you and the interviewer, how you are providing the answers, how are you confident about giving those answers. But surely we are able to give you a road. It's up to you whether you want to walk ahead or not.
Right. So, I mean, so the students will get a preferential in terms of they'll get an advantage if they have this diploma in their hand. Great, great, wonderful. So I think I would like to put a question to Ren here. Ren, if as a student, if I'm planning to study abroad, so is doing this diploma, is it going to be helpful? I mean, am I going to get credit for this? That I've done some additional qualification in 11th and 12th?
Absolutely, it will definitely help. In fact, the students who are completing the FIA will get a diploma in accounting and business, which, as per the regulated qualification framework, which is the national qualification framework in the UK, is equivalent to a first year of a degree program in the UK. So students who want to study abroad, they will definitely get credits through accreditation of prior learning. They'll get a preference when they apply to universities to pursue a qualification degree, etc. And I'm also sure that the qualification FIA as such, as my colleague Naina was mentioning as well, will definitely help prepare the students to navigate and balance the significant challenges that we face today in the world and turn them into opportunities for their future.
Great, great, wonderful. So, so Ren, I would just like to understand. You said that SSCA is a global qualification. You're present in 179 countries, and you have I mean, you have been there for more than 100 years now. So, I just would like to understand: is there any difference between doing ACCA from India and doing ACCA from some other country?
Absolutely no difference. A student pursuing ACCA from UK or India or Singapore or Canada or Australia for that matter will be going through the same curriculum, same papers, same exams, and will be awarded the same qualification or certificate. So it doesn't say it's an Indian qualification or Australian, it's ACCA certification that they get.
Oh, that's very impressive. That's very impressive. Naina, I think we need to come to the brass tacks now. So this international qualification sounds very prestigious, but then as is with any international qualification, the cost is very high acquiring an international qualification. And so how is it, I mean, like cost-wise, how difficult or how hard it is to get this qualification in India?
Okay, so let me try comparing because you said it is international qualification. So let me compare it with international qualifications. When you actually want to do an international qualification, it is not just about probably the tuition fees of that qualification. It is also about the staying, the tuitions, the books, all those expenses that coming into the picture. It is nothing less than 50 to 60 lakhs of investment that you have to do probably to get a qualification which is internationally reputed. ACC always believe that we want to provide this qualification to all those who has the skill and willingness to learn. So that's the reason we want to give it in a very, very affordable way in India. And we have done necessary arrangement in a way that we are able to give it in 1/10 of the price of this qualification. Not just that, we also work very well with a lot of other universities and colleges across the world just to make sure that our students are getting other qualifications along with ACCA just primarily because, we feel that, if in case they want to go out and, study abroad, the cost is really high. How do we help them? We are able to help them by having partnership with other colleges. So let me give you an example here. When you complete 9 papers of our ACCA qualification, you are getting an accessibility to get BSc from Oxford Brookes University, one of the top university in the world. All you have to do is submit a research report right by sitting in the city of Indore, right from the luxury of your house. This is something that you can very well do. That saves a lot of lot of investment that you want to ideally do. That gives you a lot of saving. Also, another example is that once you complete your 13 papers, you also getting you're getting a preference of doing MSc from London University, which is the top 10 universities in the world. Again, by doing the similar process, but just by sitting in Indore city, you can actually do this. By being in India, you're able to get additional qualifications, which are internationally reputed from internationally reputed universities. So thereby, you're able to have a lot of saving on the cost, and you're able to get all of this in probably 1/10 of what you ideally would have to invest otherwise.
Okay. No, so sounds very great. I mean, that we can get an international qualification, a BSc degree from Oxford Brookes and an MSc from London University. But if I'm enrolling for this course, what is the kind of support that I'll be getting? I mean, I understand that there'll be some additional studies that I'll have to do, additional support that I'll require. So what is the kind of support that we can expect?
Thanks, Murli, to us. I'm going to say that ACCA is going to be like a very quick. We are not going to leave you right from the start till the end. When I say end, it is not the end of the qualification. Even when they become a member or when they become the affiliate, we provide complete support to our students, our affiliates and our members in all of their journey, in all parts of their journey. May it be for their curriculum support, or may it be for their examination, or may it be for their jobs and thereby, and I think Jeevan is here to vouch for it for us. But in addition to that, we also have learning providers who help to do so. So Unayan comes in picture here. Unayan clearly works, in education will clearly work with all these schools to provide all the necessary support, may it be for tuition, for books, also for faculty development. And in fact, your own teachers will teach in your school the ACCA qualification with the help of Unayan. So overall, both of us put together, join hand with you to start your journey on ACCA qualification.
Oh, great. Wonderful. So how does a student enroll into this program? What is it that they have to do?
Okay, so that's very simple. Not much of a hassle to basically enroll. Initially, you have to give an examination, which is the IAPT scholarship test, which is the International Accountancy Proficiency Test. The fees for the proficiency test is around 1,000 rupees. However, it's waived off for the school students. And post you finish this, if in case you score really well, then you will get a scholarship as well, which is up to an amount of around 25,000. And you have to start, you have to do your registration for ACCA with your foundation in accountancy, and that's how you start. It's as simple as that.
Great. So Naina, I have a small question here. I mean, you said something about from the comfort of home,
Yes.
From Indore, from the comforts of home, they can get this qualification. So, am I not required to go to UK to give the examinations?
Not really, Murli. In fact, you will able to give these examinations very much from Indore. Initially, we used to have, which is all as computer-based exams. So all your examinations are basically computer-based, and that's one of the because after you finish your school and graduation, I don't remember the last time I used pen and paper to do any calculation or anything. We do everything and anything with laptops. So why do an examination on paper and pen? And that's one of the reasons we have computer-based examinations. So earlier we used to have computer-based centers in all the cities where students can go and give the examination. But while I understand the current situation where you're not able to travel because of the pandemic situation that is there across India, we also have come up with an additional service that is to give examination, which is through remote proctored way. When I say remote proctored, you're going to give this examination with the absolute comfort and the luxury of sitting in your own home and giving this examination from your laptop.
Oh, great. That's wonderful. So now, I mean, I just have one question for Ren here from a student who wants to know is it possible to, I mean, if I'm able to enroll in a school for this SSCA program and complete 3 papers here, so is it possible that I can complete the rest of the papers without actually enrolling for a graduation program? Because anyway,
Yeah.
you're giving a BSc degree.
Definitely, students can do that. In fact, as my colleague Naina said earlier, that is a very advantage of ACCA, the flexibility. So all the professional qualifications require students to complete the higher secondary or A levels, whereas ACCA, you get a head start. You can start doing it after the 10th. So the average age of when a professional accountant qualifies is around 25 globally. However, with this route, they can complete the qualification even before, I mean, turning 20, I would say. So we have one such example in Mumbai, and where my colleague Nana is from. Jatin, who is one of the youngest directors at Grant Thornton, who went through this particular route. He didn't even join for a local graduation, but he became a director of Grant Thornton at the age of 27. So that's the advantage. But having said that, it's always good to have a local degree as well. You can always do it part-time, but definitely along with the ACCA qualification, you get an international degree.
Great, great. Then that sounds very interesting. I mean, you mentioned something about student completing by the age of 21, 22. I mean, saving around 5 years.
Yeah.
You mentioned that. So 5 years means I start my career 5 years earlier. I get my promotions 5 years earlier, and I can also get to retire 5 years earlier.
And
so I get to enjoy. Yeah,
absolutely,
right.
absolutely.
Great, wonderful.
I wish I had that opportunity, you know.
Right. Then, I mean, we had Mr. Jeevan speaking about the skill gap that exists and how ACCA helped. I mean, helped him actually the different qualification that he has: company secretaryship, MBA, and ACCA. So, I would like to know specifically with ACCA, how does it help in building the skill gap in country?
Okay, that's a very excellent question. In fact, I just wanted to give you a view of the education landscape in India. So India has got one of the biggest or largest education systems in the world, which is comparable to China. So India has got nearly 1.5 million schools and over 240 million students enrolled in these schools. And every year, it is estimated that nearly 28 million students, that's around 280 lakh students, pass their higher secondary level education. That also gives you a sense of competition, 280 lakh students. And out of that, 18%, that's approximately 5 million, that's around 50 lakh students, go on to pursue a commerce stream and go on to complete an undergraduate degree in commerce, accounting, or finance or related subject. And it is estimated that if you look at India, nearly 60% of the graduates in the country do not have the relevant skills that employers are looking for. And when it comes to finance, accounting, and commerce stream, only 2.59% of the graduates are considered employable. There's a huge skills gap. That's what we are trying to do, working along with UNAN, working with the CBSE, Sahodaya school boards, to actually bridge the skills gap, to provide the relevant skills that employ to the students that employers are looking for right from the earlier days, so that the students get a head start, gets an edge over the other students.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So we have 2 questions here. Nana, I would like to address these questions to you. One is from Priyansh Upadhyay and another is from Adarsh. Their question is, what are the employment opportunity in India after completing ACCA?
I think Priyansh and others, right? You are right to the point. I think it's like the, bullseye hit that you did, because at the end of it, I'm sure all of you want to know after doing this qualification, what's in it for you? So we're doing a lot of work on the employability for our students and members, and we have a dedicated portal, which is a career portal where ACCA students can see all the jobs that is available, and even our employers can see all the students who have completed this qualification, day in and day out. In fact, even in this COVID situation, we are getting jobs on a daily basis from our employers, and they all are the top employers, which Jeevan was talking about, the big four. So we work very closely with EY, KPMG, PwC, Deloitte, and many other Indian as well as international organizations.
It seems that Naina's connectivity has some issue. So, Jeevan, can I ask this question to you? What do you think is the prospect of ACCA?
Which,
Yes,
Yes,
of
Jeevan.
course. So as Naina was rightly pointing out, Big Four companies are one great consumers of ACCA professionals, be it our audit practice, our financial accounting or advisory practice specifically has a lot of opportunities for ACCA, especially with the organization that I am part of has a very large portion of it working closely with the Europe, the Middle East and the Asia Pacific, where ACCA is a very relevant qualification. So be it the audit practice or the financial accounting advisory practice, be it the tax practice, where we advise them on the taxation related aspects, be it the strategy and transactions practice, where we help clients with business modeling, valuations. All these are things that's taught in the ACCA paper. And also our consulting, there's a huge demand for ACCAs in consulting. So we have a specific domain for finance where we advise clients on. When I say we, all Big Fours have these domains. We advise clients on finance transformation related engagements. There is an internal audit practice which is very big in the Big Four consulting firms, and also the internal audit practice is also very big in the international organizations which have set up their captives here. Right, so I think immense career opportunities for ACCA in India, especially with the big firms and the international firms.
Okay, great. Jeevan, on this note, I would just like to know, because we have got a lot of questions coming in from the audience, which we would like to take next. But before that, I'd just like to cover a couple of things. Jeevan, what is the kind of salary that an ACCA can look up to if they're working in India?
All right. So typically ACCAs, start at a salary band of around, I think 5 to 6 lakhs to start with, because they, soon after qualification, they come in at the entry level. And then typically large organizations look at giving up a promotion every year or at least once in 2 years, depending on performance, and an average of 15 to 20% hike on a year-on-year basis is something that you can expect. And when you get promoted, of course, there is a level pay that also gets added. So 5 to 6 lakhs to start with, and in a span of 5-6 years, you should be looking at doubling your salary.
Oh wow, that's a very good package.
Of course, based on performance.
Yeah, obviously, right. Understood. So Ren, I mean, I'd just like to understand. I mean, this is about India. So if a student were to move out of India, so what is the kind of scope that an ACCA member has?
I would say they've got a definite advantage. I would say at the top of the game, as ACCA members are much sought after by global organizations around the world. So whether they want to work in the Middle East or Europe or UK, and especially with Brexit and in the UK, the kind of opportunities that you will have in UK is also going to grow exponentially. And I mean, there are. We can see some examples right in front of us. There is Jeevan, who's in a very senior position in EY. Then another example on top of my head is Tony Fernandez, who is the head of Air Asia. He's an ACCA member. So, I would say the opportunities are tremendous around the globe for ACCA members.
Great. So before we start taking the questions from the audience, Naina, I would just have one question, so which we can cover so that we can move to the other questions that we have from the audience. How does a student who is interested, sign up for this particular course?
Okay, so when you have to sign up, you have to go first and complete your entrance exam, which is IAPT. They're going to do it from c4commerce.com. Complete your complete your entrance. After that, depending on the scholarship, you will get a scholarship. Otherwise, as well, you will able to then register for ACCA with a minimum initial registration that is required to be given, and then from there you start off. It's quite simple in terms of taking the process from there ahead.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Naina. So we have a lot of questions coming in. I already have more than 200 questions with me from the audience. So I'm going to take one at a time. So Ren, the first question that comes up, which is, we have nearly around 20 students who have been asking the same kind of question. This question is related to the fact that I'm interested in doing business. So how will ACCA help me? Ren, you're on mute.
Yeah. Thank you. I just gave an example of one entrepreneur, that's Tony Fernandez, who's the owner of AirAsia. So what better example than him? So the good thing is that, again, when we are talking about ACCA qualification, it's not just purely a finance or accounting qualification. It's an all-encompassing qualification that involves strategy, management, etc., which are essential skills or competencies that you need if you want to be a successful entrepreneur. So definitely studying the ACCA qualification would give you insights to all these and gives you the 12 competencies that employers as well as a successful entrepreneur requires. And in addition to that, the network that we have got, the member network, student network, would actually support you, help you, guide you throughout. As Naina said, we are like a quick fix. We are there throughout the journey until you, even once you become successful as well.
Great. Ren, we have a very question which is really very important to address. This is from Sakshi Lakhiani, and she says that I have been in UAE and I have seen that there is a sudden surge of people wanting to opt for ACCA. So, with so many people opting for ACCA, how do we know that we are not going to run out of job opportunities? Ren, you're on mute.
Okay, can you? Sakshi's a very good question, Sakshi. If I understand correctly, Sakshi is concerned whether are we going to run out of opportunities, is it?
Yeah, she says that so many people wanting to do ACCA. So, there'll be so many people already with ACCA, so then they will be running out of job opportunities.
Okay. We'll go globally. Before that, let's stay in India and say, let's look at the situation in India. In India, at the moment, even like from 2016, we rolled out IFRS as well, which Jeevan spoke about as well. So there is a requirement for over 500 million trained finance professionals by 2022, and we don't have the kind of so that supply, demand is high, we can't supply enough people. That we do have a lot of job opportunity, and by 2022 globally it is estimated that nearly 3.1 billion jobs would be created. And as I was saying, with Brexit in the UK and a lot of these disruptions that's happening, there would be definitely a lot of opportunities, and ACCA, having an ACCA qualification would actually give you a head start. And I mentioned to you about the skills gap that we are having. So the qualification would give you a head start and would give you an edge to stand out from the crowd, Sakshi.
Right. Great. Sakshi has one more very pertinent question. I think I'll put this to Naina. So her question is like, when can we begin this ACCA? Is there a particular age limit, or can it be attempted at any point of time?
Okay, so there is no age limit to it, but yes, the minimum entry, as we rightly said, that you can right away start after your 10th standard to start with this qualification, but there is no minimum age limit which is there. You can start right away after this webinar. You go ahead and get your registrations done if you require, and that's the flexibility that ACCA is giving. There is no age limit as well as for completing your course. We're giving you enough time and flexibility to complete it based on your convenience.
Great. So there is this question which I would like to take it up, because this is a question that has been coming often. How is ACCA better than CA in India? Although Jeevan addressed this question, again, this is a question which has come from a number of people. Bhavya is one who has asked this question. So if you can kindly answer this, Naina.
Okay, so let me try putting it across this way, that I think in the initially start itself, I did mention that every country you go, there is a body which is similar to what ICAI is there for India. Similarly, you have your accountancy body for UK, you have an accountancy body for Singapore, or you go to Dubai, you have an accountancy body which is there. So there is surely going to be a domestic accountancy body which is anywhere there, which is what is ICAI is. But if you would have noticed, there is a lot of job opportunities which comes in, and majority of these organizations are MNCs and from outside India. They are seeing a huge opportunity and good quality employees from India. When you have such job opportunities here, they surely would want somebody who has the knowledge and skill to understand what is an international accounting is, and understand what is an international taxation is, or understand how a reporting has to be done on an international as well as a standardized way. And that's where ACCA coming into the picture. We will able to provide that standard, and we will able to provide that commonality which they are looking at when they are trying to hire employees. And our students are able to correlate as well as relate to those organizations much better way, and that's how we will able to differentiate in terms of employability as well as with the qualification.
Great. Then there is one more question from Sanskar, who wants to know, although you answered this question earlier, he has this question. He wants to know, will he have to study extra for doing this ACCA if he is in class 11th?
Okay, so Sanskar, I'm going to answer it in a way that it's like you study in school, you still go ahead and take some tuition, right? Just to see that you're getting much higher score. Consider this as an extra tuition that you're taking, and this tuition will not only help you to get an extra qualification, but also help you to score better in your CBSE 11th and 12th overall marks as well. So it's going to be a dual advantage for you, that you're able to score higher, because you're able to relate the marks, you're able to relate to the curriculum well. I don't know, this generation, maybe all of you students, I don't know whether you guys have seen this movie, which is Three Idiots. So I'm going to give you that as an example. If you've seen that movie, or you can check with your parents, I'm sure. In that movie, it mentions about what's the difference of just learning theory and what's the difference of learning and applying it. At the end of it, that is always going to help you to score better, and also to learn and remember it when it is actually in need. That is when you start working.
Great, wonderful. I have next question for Jeevan. Jeevan, the question is, they want to know, after commerce, there seems to be so many options. So how do you decide which one to choose?
So I think predominantly what we learn in commerce are two aspects. So if you put it that way, one is your business studies paper, which gives you a better grip on the business environment, and then the second one, predominant one, is your finance and accounting that you learn, right? So I think I would classify the career opportunities or the further opportunities between whether being in the business operations side of things or whether you want to be in the finance side of things. right? So look at your interest areas. If you like accountancy and finance quite a bit, then that's the profession. You should choose qualifications like an ACCA, and if it's the other way around, then it's your MBA route. But then even in those scenarios, a course like ACCA becomes very important, because whatever career that you want to choose from for commerce, I personally believe that your finance and accounting has to be proper. Your foundations in finance and accounting has to be crystal clear and strong. Unless you have that conceptual clarity, you can't even run a business, right? So I think this is predominantly important. So even ACCA offers you, I've recently heard, Naina, that there's an MBA program that's also being offered. Once you complete the ACCA program, it's an international MBA, right? So even if you want to get into the business, ACCA is your stepping stone towards your further qualifications. Never stop with an ACCA, but then look at your interest areas and then choose the next higher qualification depending on your interests.
Right. Great. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Naina, we have this next question, which is most of the students are asking about the fee structure. So as you had already mentioned about this, I mean, the total fees for completing the 3 papers is around 65,000. And they will get a scholarship of around 25,000 rupees if they, based on their performance in the IAPT.
That's right.
And so this includes the examination fee, the tuition fee, as well as the registration fee. So in net, that will come to around 40,000 rupees for completing these 3 papers. Is that right?
Absolutely, Murli. That's right. It includes all of these components that you mentioned.
Right. So there is one question that has come up, is that this IAPT, is there any time specific when they can appear for this, or they can appear anytime?
Okay, so they can appear for it anytime. It's an online test for 1 hour, and it's also a multiple choice question. So for a student who is, in the 11th standard, there will be basic questions in terms of understanding their ability to understand commerce and, the introduction kind. When somebody who is in 12th standard, it is more related, because you've already covered some part of it in the 11th standard. So the technical part, a little bit of it will come, but otherwise it's a multi-choice questions, and the entire test is for just 1 hour.
Great, wonderful. Ren, we have a very interesting question here. Next one. It's from Bhavna Motiani, who asks the question that, as a teacher, if I enroll for ACCA, how will this help me in carrying forward my career? Are there any opportunities for a teacher with the ACCA qualification? Ren, audio.
Sorry,
Ren,
I was on.
Yeah.
I was on mute. So, as a teacher, how is it going to help with? So, one of the key things about ACCA is that ACCA, it's an application oriented approach, learning about ACCA, and so the advantage is that you get to learn about the global or UK international pedagogy, the aspects, etc. when you go through the ACCA qualification. And another advantage is that, like for example, like if you look at ACCA as a qualification, along with the ACCA qualification, my colleague has mentioned that you can get master's programs or additional degrees, etc. as well. The basic thing we have to understand here is that the advantage is the knowledge, an application-oriented approach, and at the same time, the key competencies that we get out of learning this ACCA qualification is something that would definitely help you in the long run, especially the way in which the world is changing, especially with the kind of disruptions that we have got. And once after COVID, the new normal, technology is going to play a major role in that. So if you look at ACCA qualification, the delivery, all the ACCA exams are delivered through by way of computer-based examinations up to the first 9 papers. And we are also rolling out for the professional level, the final papers as well, through computer-based examinations. So technology plays a major role, and that's one of the areas where we will actually but that's another advantage that teachers would definitely get out of it as well.
And so I suppose, sorry to interrupt, I suppose based on the answers that everybody has been giving here to questions, so if there are a lot of job opportunities coming up for ACCA, which also means that there are a lot of students who would be opting for ACCA.
Absolutely.
So you will need teachers to teach those students also. So therefore, an ACCA qualified person is more, I think, adept at teaching and ACCA, preparing the students for ACCA. Would that also work?
Absolutely. I mean, we did discuss about the skills gap and everything. So one of the challenges that we are facing in India is the huge skills gap. When it comes to commerce and finance, etc., less than 3% of the graduates do have the relevant skills that employers are looking for. Now, the government wants to upskill all these up to more than 90% of the graduates wants to be upskilled. However, we don't have the kind of capacity for the skill. The government's capacity is less than 4 million. So that's where, like, as teachers, academicians, as professional bodies, as schools, the onus is on us to actually train these students to ensure that we bridge the skills gap. So the number of students who would be taking up ACCA qualification is to go up. And let me tell you the example in India. We are in India for less than 5 years. And as of now, within this 5 years, there are more than 40,000 students taking up ACCA qualification, different levels of ACCA qualification. So the number of students taking up this qualification is going up at a very fast pace. The challenge here is that we need trained teachers to support these students. So that's where it helps.
Right. Great. Thank you, Ren. I have a next question, and this question is directed at Naina by name. So Gayatri wants this question to be presented to Naina. So her question is, do all colleges provide option for ACCA in India after I do my diploma? And secondly, if it is only private colleges which are offering ACCA program, then the affordability is a big issue. So don't you have any government colleges where you have this tie-up?
Thank you, Gayatri, for that question. So let me put it across this way. While there are a lot of colleges where we already have an affiliation with, are offering this as a qualification as a part of their graduation, we also have a lot of state universities which we have affiliated with. You take Bangalore University, or if you go to the south side, we do have universities which are there specifically in Kerala, which are associated with us, and this curriculum is well established. And even Delhi University, we have our course which is affiliated and integrated. But in addition to that, if a student still want to pursue and continue the qualification, it is not a necessary arrangement that you need to do, that you need to be in a college which is affiliated with us. You can still learn ACCA as a separate qualification, even if you study with whichever choice of college that you would want to. We have, as I rightly said, we support you start from the course till the end. We are there, as well as we have various learning providers across the country like Unayan, who will able to help you get through this ACCA qualification, along with your parallelly when you're doing a graduation from any other college which is not affiliated with us. I hope that answers you, Gayatri.
Right. Thank you. I have a very important question, although this question I should have directed at Nano or Ren. But I would like to ask this question to Jeevan because he has appeared for ACCA exam. So I would like to direct this question to him. So Anisha has this question, Jeevan, where she asks, how much time does it take to complete these 13 papers?
All right. That's a very interesting question. So it all depends on the pace at which you want to go. So we have 4 sittings for ACCA every year. You can go paper by paper, or 2 papers at a time, or 3 papers at a time. It all depends on the pace at which you can study. So that's the kind of flexibility ACCA as a course offers. So I decided to take while I did my ACCA course while I was working. So I decided to take 2 papers at a time, and it took me 1.5 years to sail through all the 14 papers. I had to miss one session in between, but otherwise I took all the sessions, and it took me 1.5 years. So which means 6 sittings to complete the entire program.
Ooh, wow, wow,
But
that's, I mean,
you can, yeah. But then I've seen students who completed in a span of 2 years,
Mhm.
over a period of 8 sittings. So that is one that you can target. It all
Right.
depends on the number of papers that you want to take in each attempt.
Okay, great, great. Nana, we have a very interesting question. Next question, which is basically that if if I'm not able to clear an exam in the first go, can I reappear for the paper?
Absolutely, you can reappear for the paper again. We understand, and I think even when you're reappearing, we will be providing you enough support so that you have the confidence for that reappearing. So you can do it, even if, for example, if as said by Jeevan, that we have it in every quarter end, so that we have one in June, September, December, and March examination. If you feel you have not able to clear any paper in, let's say, June, you'll able to reappear it in September as well, and you just can clear it then and there itself. Yeah.
Great, great, thank you. Nana, there is a question from Kunal on what is the syllabus for IAPT examination. I suppose, I mean, as we were discussing, it's a general aptitude kind of questions that will come in IAPT. Is that right?
That's absolutely right, Murli. It's a very, very general entrance examination. It is purely to just look at your basic understanding about commerce and accountancy, nothing more.
Right, right, great, great. Thank you so much, Nana. I mean, I think we are nearing the end time. So I would request uh, Isabel ma'am to address the audience. But before I do that, I think we have Mr. UK Jha, and he wanted to address the audience. So Jha sir,
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes, Mr.
yes, sir.
Murli, yes.
Right, right, sir. So thank you for joining us. I mean, it's so nice of you that, I mean, you are able to spare time to join us today in this session. So we would like to, the stage is yours. So would like to hear from you.
So thanks, Murli. Dear students and their teachers, when I had a discussion with Mr. Murli and when he was talking about the ACCA, and it was quite new for me to know about it, and I thought I must make aware my children of Indore schools to know about this curriculum and course, and that is why I thought this would be a good platform for making them aware to know about this course. So I organized it, and Murli, Nana, Jeevan, Ranjit, they all made it very, very clear to everyone. I think everybody must have understood the way it has to be done. And it's a new way of learning or getting a qualification with more skills, and which is a future for the future for new generation, I suppose. And as the COVID has changed the whole scenario, and the coming years, as we are moving more on digitalization, so this is going to be a better way of getting our qualification and upskilling ourselves and getting options in abroad. And this is as it's a global qualification, so we would get the options to get the job in anywhere in the world. So that is that is why I thought we must make the Indore school students to know about it. So thank you, Murli and Nana and Jeevan and Ranjit for making it clear to all the students and teachers about it, and I'm sure they must be benefited by this webinar.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. I mean, and you have been a great help. And Indore audience has been really wonderful. I mean, they have joined in overwhelming numbers, and the questions are also really wonderful. I mean, the kind of questions that they have been asking. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity, Jasar. Now, I would like to request Isabel ma'am to address the audience. Right, ma'am, please. Ma'am, you're on mute. Ma'am, you need to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Good evening, all. Well, after such an enriching and interesting webinar, I'm here to wrap up the day with a warm sense of gratitude. Thank you is the best prayer that everyone could say. I say that one a lot of time as it expresses exclusive gratitudeness. It was a unique, interactive, informative session with such eminent personalities. I'm very glad to express my gratitude to Mr. Jeevan Sridharan, the Associate Director, Ernst & Young, for his valuable inputs and sharing all his rich experiences with the students. It's my great pleasure to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Mrs. Naina VG, the head of West and Central India ACC, for her exclusive guidelines for marketing, business development, and moreover, making the things very crystal clear about the course of ACCA. I take this opportunity to thank Mr. Ranjit Verma, the passionate professional on behalf of ISSC, for nurturing the students with an extraordinary skills of business sense and leadership through his thought-provoking insight. I would further like to extend my hearty thanks to Mr. Muralidharan, a well-known educationist and a counselor of several reputed schools in India and abroad. Also the director of UNAIN, who enlightened the students of greater extent while moderating the session very lively. Thank you so much, sir. Now it's time to thank Ms. Tina Rawal, the relationship manager of ACCA, who coordinated the webinar behind the platform as well organized one. My hearty thanks to you, Ms. Tina. I would especially thank our respected chairperson, Mr. Uttam Jha, with whose consent and cooperation today's webinar could be possible. I would also like to extend my words of gratitude to all the principals and the faculties who encouraged their students to participate in this fruitful webinar. Finally, my deep sense of gratitude and appreciation and warm greetings to all the lovely students for their sincere participation with lots of interest and curiosity. Thank you so much, dear students. I love you all and God bless you. Finally, once again, I thank a lot to all the panelists for spending your precious time sharing these valuable thoughts with all of us and enlightening all our students and guiding us for this ACCA. Thank you once again, everyone. I wish you all a healthy and safe life. Thank you, once again.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
The feedback link is provided here. Kindly fill out the feedback form, and those who complete this feedback form will get the certificate of participation on their email. So kindly fill out the feedback form. This, if in case you are finding it difficult to type in the text, this feedback is available. This will be sent on your email also. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Naina. Thank you, Jeevan. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ren.